Hope to start working on our marriage within the next week or so to make sure that these incidents don't repeat ever again. This has been one of the worst experiences of my life, and I don't want to feel the way I felt a couple of days ago ever again. I'm really glad that Harry is cutting Olivia off, because I don't think I would have ever been able to see her again and resist the urge to smack all the arrogance out of her. I won't do it, but I hope that someone does. A week has passed since the day of the party, and Olivia hadn't tried to talk to us after Harry gave her that ultimatum, and she didn't even reply. When he told her that he was calling it off and he didn't need an apology anymore, we knew that something was wrong, and she was definitely preparing to do something big because she wasn't one to let this slide. But then days passed and she did nothing, so we kind of forgot about it. However, today she finally turned up at our house. She had her lawyer with her, and when I opened the door, she walked in without even glancing at me, as if I was not even there. And then she started calling out for Harry and told him to come see her in the living room. It was stupid because Harry was in our bedroom, and I was going to go tell him to do that anyway, so she didn't need to take matters into her own hands. When Harry appeared in the living room, she told him to sit down on the couch. And it was really annoying for us because she was acting like this was her house and ordering us around inside our own home. So Harry told her that he was going to do whatever he wanted to, and right now he didn't want to speak to her. So she needed to leave and take her lawyer with her because it didn't scare him. But Olivia didn't budge and insisted that he take a seat because he would want to hear this. I was the one who told Harry to just do it because I wanted her out of the house as soon as possible. And it wouldn't happen unless she had said what she wanted to say. I just wanted to get this over with. And if that meant that we would have to listen to Olivia threaten us legally or some other rubbish, I was ready to hear her out, and then she could get the heck out. So then, Harry took his place on the couch, and I sat down beside him just to show her who's boss around here. So she could ignore me all she wanted, but this was our house, and she needed to know her place. She still ignored me, and then told her lawyer to come forward and start reading the terms of the document that she had prepared. And so he did. Essentially, it just said that she wanted Harry to leave me because otherwise she would write him out of her will and give it all away to other family members, her employees, and charity. It included a list of properties and assets that she had made, probably just to freak him out and make Harry think about what he was losing out on by staying with me. But he seemed unfazed even while the lawyer was going through that list, and it almost appeared like he was bored because he was fiddling with a ring on my finger and not even paying attention to what was being read out. After the reading of the document was complete, Olivia stood there and asked Harry if he had given any thought to what he was going to do now, because if he stayed with me, then he could say goodbye to her and his inheritance forever. And then the funniest thing happened. Harry stood up, walked towards his mother, and then gave her a big hug. And then he said, "Goodbye, Mom." It was hilarious when her face turned from triumphant to shock that I couldn't stop giggling. So then she finally acknowledged my existence and snapped at me. She told me to shut up and started throwing a temper tantrum by calling me several choice words that I will not be repeating here. I didn't even say anything to her and pretended that I couldn't hear her because I knew that's what would piss her off the most. Even Harry didn't argue with her, and after she started screaming at me, he said to me that it was time that we return to our room because this could take a while since his mother was clearly going crazy and he didn't want to stick around to witness more of her mental breakdown, as it was quite embarrassing. Both of us were speaking to each other pretty normally, like she was not there, and completely ignoring her wild screaming and cursing. Both of us got up to go back to our room to piss her off, but then she took it too far and started accusing me of being a gold digger. She said that she never should have approved of our marriage, and that she should have known that I was only after Harry for his money, probably since my dad was too much of a loser to earn some for himself. That was out of line, because she has no idea how hard my dad has worked for us, and I'm not going to let anyone take that away from us. I didn't argue, but I just told her that my husband was literally rejecting her in spite of all her money today, so I was anything but a gold digger. I was a working woman. I didn't take any money from my husband and did everything on my own, so she had no idea what she was talking about. Then I told her to get out of my house before I called the police and had her escorted out. She finally left, but her visit had already left a bad taste in our mouths. It was an unpleasant visit, but we got a lot of things out of the way, and she knows not to pick on us. So hopefully she will keep that in mind and leave us alone. Update 3, hey guys. So I'm back here because Olivia did something really nasty and low, and I can't believe that she thought she could get away with this. About 2 weeks have passed since she visited us, and because she didn't do anything or try to talk to us after that, Harry and I assumed that this chapter was finally done with and we could resume our normal lives. Clearly not, because I just got a call from my parents about an hour ago, and they were telling me that Olivia had paid them a visit, and it was not good. She barged into their house and insulted them, calling them terrible parents who raised a gold-digging and conniving B-word like me. She said a lot of other things as well about me, but that's not even what I'm offended about. She told my mother that if she had spent more time at home actually raising us instead of running errands and trying to earn money, then maybe we would have turned out better. And of course she did insult my dad about his profession once again, and said that she never should have allowed her only son to marry into a family like ours. Knowing that my dad was so used to cleaning up other people's trash, it was no surprise that his own daughters were the filthiest. My parents were almost in tears when they were telling me about all the things that she had said, and I just couldn't hold back my anger. I still can't. Even thinking about her yelling at my parents and their house makes my blood boil. I'm at work right now, so I can't exactly do anything about it, but as soon as my work for the day is done, I'm heading over to Olivia's house and ripping her a new one, because she definitely needs to be taken down. I texted Harry about it as soon as I got to know about what happened with my parents, but he is busy with work, so he hasn't replied yet. I honestly don't want him to accompany me, but I have informed him, so it doesn't take him by surprise when Olivia calls him up, crying about all the things that I said to her. Update 4, hi. So I'm currently at home. I came back from Olivia's house about 3 hours ago, and I swear it was incredibly satisfying to shout at her and let her know exactly what I thought of her. She didn't seem surprised when I showed up at her place and opened the door herself. She was smirking at me, and that's when I lost it. She didn't even have to say anything to make me mad because I was already fuming. I pushed her aside and went inside the house, and then I asked her if she had paid my parents a visit, and if she had indeed said all those horrible things to them. When she said yes, she sounded very pleased with herself, and I wanted to wipe that smirk right off her face. So I screamed at her as loudly as I could, and I swear I felt the house shake. I asked her how dare she, and she was so taken aback by the sheer volume that she had to take a couple of steps back. It's quite comical now that I think about it, but she was really shocked because I'm generally a quiet and soft-spoken person, and I try not to yell as much as I can. I even kind of surprised myself by how loudly I was screaming at her. I went on to call her a hypocrite and a sad excuse of a human being. I told her that she had completely failed at being a mother because she couldn't even try to put Harry's happiness over her own, which is why she was going out of her way to break us apart. But unfortunately, that was not going to happen. Because Harry and I loved each other because we were capable of it, unlike her, who didn't even know what that word meant. It was a low blow, but then I told her that I was glad that her husband passed away when Harry was little, because he probably wouldn't have been able to survive living with her. I called her worse than whatever disease that he had, and that's when she started crying. But I wasn't about to stop just yet, so I went on yelling at her for quite a few more minutes. I didn't stop until I finally ran out of steam. By then, she was sobbing inconsolably, and I was quite happy about it, because it was very satisfying for me to see her break down like that. She had made me feel bad about myself and my family, and worst of all, she had insulted my parents for no fault of theirs. She deserved this. A few minutes after she started crying, I stormed out of the house and came back home. And about an